What is up, YouTube gang? It's your boy Fridayrandommedia, and I'm back with another video. And today we're going to be back talking about horror icons and where they would place in terms of how powerful they are. So if you guys like tier lists, this is going to be similar to a tier list, but we're going to go by if it was like a battle royale, who would come out on top, okay? So we got the losers at the bottom and the top dogs at the top. Big dogs. So if you guys like horror movies, horror icons, tier lists, death battles, stick around because we got a treat today. So the characters we are going to be working with today will start off big dog status. Freddy Krueger, horror icon, the Nightmare Stalker from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And by the way, we're going across the board for these characters. So movies, TV shows, comic books, novelizations, whatever it may be. So Freddy Krueger, we've got Pennywise the Clown from the It franchise. We've got Art the Clown from the Terrifier franchise, and I know a lot of people are getting into Art the Clown and Terrifier lately, so we had to toss him in the Coliseum. We've got our boy from Camp Crystal Lake, Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th franchise. We've got the Shape of Haddonfield, Michael Myers from the Halloween franchise. We've got Pinhead the Cenobite, and like I said, across the board, all media from the Hellraiser movies, TV series, comic books. And finally, kind of a unique pick here, we've got Arnold, the Terminator from the Terminator franchise. And I think this is a unique one because a lot of people wouldn't think of the Terminator in terms of horror movie. They would think of it as action movie. But this first Terminator movie, it was scary back in the day, man. The shit was scary back in the day. Hey, it's me editing the video. I totally forgot to announce Leatherface being in this battle, but So now that we got our characters announced and out of the way, our competitors in the Coliseum are lined up. Let's start off going by who I think would lose first, all the way up to the top dog, the big dog. So let's dive into it. The first character that's going to take an L in the Coliseum here is going to be Leatherface. And I'm sure this isn't a shock to many of you guys, but Leatherface is only a human. And a pretty subpar human at that. So he's vulnerable to basic attacks. He can be outsmarted. He can be outwitted. There is something to say here about how stupid he is. And not only that, but he operates within a team. He operates within his family that work together to capture people, kill people, torture people, use their skin, use their bones. You know, Leatherface things. Although there is a point in which Leatherface is pretty strong and he is pretty fast for just a human, he's just a human. Is he stronger than Jason Voorhees? Hell no. Is he stronger than Michael Myers? The films and evidence suggest no. So Leatherface is going to be the first to take an L and get killed in the Coliseum, at the bottom of the tier list. Up next on the chopping block might actually surprise some of you guys. I've got Jason Voorhees here. And although Jason is very strong, although he is a brute, he can use an assortment of different weapons. Jason doesn't really have a higher intelligence. He can easily be outsmarted, and also he isn't cut from the same cloth as far as mythical ties go, as far as conceptual ties go, as far as interdimensional ties go. Jason Voorhees isn't the embodiment of a concept. He can be taken out, he can be erased, he can be put down and contained. And for that reason, I put him at number 2 on the chopping block. Jason Voorhees is going to take the L. Speaking of interdimensional ties and embodiments of concepts, we're going to talk about Michael Myers because I believe he would be up next on the chopping block. Although he does have a conceptual tie as he is the embodiment of evil itself, he's still vulnerable to basic attacks. And the thing about Michael Myers is that he's not doing a lot of damage. He's doing some basic stuff like stabbing people, crushing people's windpipes. He is shown to be intelligent and outsmart people, but he's doing a lot of skull crushing and thing of that sort. Although he has shown the ability to teleport and kind of have an awareness of what his opponents are going to do, of what his targets are going to do, he doesn't have these extra dimensional attacks or mental attacks of any sort. Michael Myers, the Shape, is simply not going to be dealing enough damage to hurt the likes of the Terminator, even Freddy Krueger, Art the Clown, and otherwise. So for that reason, Michael Myers is number 3 on the chopping block, taking the L, getting taken out of the Coliseum. Up next on the chopping block, we have got Art the Clown from the Terrifier franchise, and I will explain to y'all exactly why Art the Clown comes above the likes of Leatherface, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers. And the reason why is because Art the Clown uses these interdimensional, extra-dimensional abilities to his advantage many times. He uses teleportation to get into a vehicle or ahead of his opponents. We even seen Art the Clown use dimensional travel, and pretty effortlessly at that, when he was able to escape the VHS tape into the real world and start killing people. We've seen him in hell with the devil himself, so it's safe to say that Art does use his dimensional attacks and dimensional travel to his advantage. An interesting aspect to this is why Art the Clown is below Freddy Krueger is that we've seen Art the Clown in the dream world before, in this dreamscape type of dimension. Unlike Freddy Krueger, he isn't able to kill people, he isn't able to take people out of the dream world, he isn't able to cause the same amount of damage that Freddy Krueger can do. So for that reason, Art the Clown is going to be number 4, taking the L, getting kicked out the Coliseum. So up next on the chopping block, we've got Freddy Krueger. And the reason why is because Freddy Krueger could not actually get into the Terminator's brain as far as a nightmare goes. Could Freddy Krueger manifest into a type of form that maybe would appear to the Terminator? I don't think so. I think Freddy Krueger would have to come to the real world to fight the Terminator, and because of that, the Terminator sweeps his ass. We know that Freddy Krueger can travel the dreamscape, or more so be pulled from the dreamscape, which makes him even more likely to get defeated by any of the opponents left over. But because Freddy Krueger does have higher dimensional ties, let's talk about it. It doesn't really compare to Pennywise and Pinhead, and I'll tell you why. Freddy Krueger did swallow the Necronomicon, and he did fuse with it, but the thing is that Freddy Krueger wasn't able to overpower it completely. The Necronomicon is like an entity in itself, and it was able to overpower Freddy, pretty much cancel out all of his powers, making him completely weak. As far as Pennywise and Pinhead go, I do think they would overpower Freddy in the same type of way, rather easily. So Freddy Krueger, unable to do physical damage to Pinhead, Pennywise, the Terminator, unable to do higher dimensional damage to any of his opponents, he's going to be next on the chopping block, taking the L. Now up next on the chopping block, this was a tough one, man. This one threw me off the entire tier list death battle royale. Good God, man, we got Terminator. I'll tell you why, man. Terminator is super strong, he's fast, he's durable, he's powerful. He knows how to use all sorts of weapons. He has time traveled. The problem is that Terminator simply isn't high dimensional enough to compete with the final two. And there's not really shit as far as physical damage he could do to either Pennywise or Pinhead. They're not vulnerable to physical damage the same way that Freddy Krueger is in the dream world, or Michael Myers, or Jason, or any of the other guys are. The Terminator sees things through a very narrow lens, and this is a lens that Pennywise and Pinhead are so far above it's not even funny. When it comes to the likes of Leatherface, Michael Myers, Art the Clown, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger in the physical world, he stomps in all angles. He beats them up, he shoots them up, he chops them up. He does whatever he wants. But when it comes to Pennywise and Pinhead, there's not much that he can do to physically harm them. And I will explain why in this next segment. But for now, Terminator is taking the L. Kicked out the Coliseum, goddammit. So this final battle, this head-to-head showdown to claim king of the Coliseum has got me hyped up because I've been trying to research this battle all over the place. I've been trying to learn as much as I can about each character across the board. So we are coming down to Pennywise the Clown versus Pinhead the Cenobite. Both of these characters have a lot of higher and extra dimensional types of shit going on with them, so I'm gonna try to explain it as simple as I can because it's hard for me to even understand and try to scale these guys. So I'm gonna try to do it, what would you say, death battle for dummies? Tier list for dummies? Let's dive into it. Pennywise the Clown versus Pinhead the Cenobite at their fullest of powers. Let's talk a little bit about Pinhead and his universe. So, above Pinhead is the Leviathan, which is the top dog of the Hellraiser universe. And the Leviathan grants the Hellraisers, the Cenobites, their power. Now, the Cenobites, more specifically the Hell Priest or Pinhead, use time and space as a play toy. It's nothing to them. Dimensionally, time and space is nothing. Heaven, hell, multiverses, stories, and narratives, it's all beneath the Hell Priest, the Pinhead. In the Hellraiser verse, we have what's called the Dream Sea, and the Dream Sea contains all stories and all narratives, both told and untold. However, this Dream Sea is absolutely insignificant to the Hell Priest. Pinhead was effortlessly able to corrupt the Dream Sea, which contains all these concepts and all these different dimensions and narratives. Now, moving over to Pennywise in the Stephen King verse, there's another being who is Pennywise's brother known as Matern. And Pennywise is able to threaten and possibly even kill Matern. And Matern effortlessly creates and contains universes, stories, multiverses, and creation is said to be a bellyache or a stomachache in Matern. So Matern contains creation itself. And Pennywise is able to threaten and possibly kill this power. Much like the Hellraiser's Dream Sea, inside of the Stephen King verse with Pennywise is the Dark Tower. And the Dark Tower contains all stories, it contains all narratives, it contains tons of concepts like transcendence and size. So to my understanding, the Dream Sea and the Dark Tower are very similar. And much like the Dream Sea to Pinhead, the Dark Tower is insignificant to Pennywise as far as scaling is concerned. But the final note here that I want to leave about Pennywise is that Pennywise is said to be a legitimate threat to the author himself. Stephen King himself is threatened by Pennywise the Clown in his truest form. Pennywise going on to transcend fiction itself. I think this is what separates him from Pinhead, even from his truest of forms. Going back to Pinhead the Hell Priest, even when he was at his most powerful and he tried to challenge the Leviathan, the big dog of his verse, he was shut down quick, without effort from the Leviathan. However, Pennywise the Clown in his truest form seems to be the big dog, the big bad of his universe. So in the end, maybe the Leviathan versus Pennywise may be a better challenge. That may be the matchup to make. If y'all want to see that video, comment down below. Maybe I can do a little bit more research here. So when the smoke finally settles in the Coliseum of this versus Battle Royale tier list, and Pennywise and Pinhead come face to face, how is it going to play out? Well, I think it's going to be a battle that's drawn out and going to last for millennia. Both of these entities scale far above time and space itself. It's going to take place across heavens and hells, multiverses and dimensions. It's going to consist of a lot of conceptual attacks and conceptual battles, a lot of higher dimensional things that we don't even understand. But when they finally get to their most powerful and they come face to face, Pennywise tips the scale by truly transcending fiction and probably able to rewrite the story of the Hell Priest. If Pennywise in his truest form can be a threat to the author Stephen King, and let's say theoretically does get to Stephen King, who's to say he can't go after other authors, such as Hellraiser's Clive Barker? This is where the Hell Priest Pinhead is going to meet his match and ultimately take the L from Pennywise on an entire narrative level. So to close it out, our Battle Royale tier list, Leatherface was out first, then Jason Voorhees, then Michael Myers, Art the Clown, Freddy Krueger, Terminator taking his unfortunate L, then we have Pinhead leaving Pennywise the Clown in his truest form, taking the victory at the top. Now, if I missed out on some horror icons that you want to see in a Battle Royale tier list, comment them down below for a part 2. But that is going to be it for now. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below what you guys want to see next. I want to say thank you for tuning in. Have a great day, and peace out.